This is my 1989 Toyota van. Now for me, what I've learned over the years is you want to talk about bug out bags and all that stuff. Well, this is my bug out bag, okay? If you don't have a vehicle that's ready to go off-road and self-sufficient, right? Meaning that you've got ways to cook food, ways to procure or store your water, you've got to have all your recovery gear, blah, 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 blah. But this is your bug out bag. If you lose this, you're basically fucked. So what happened is I was driving and I hit a big pothole or something, and the fuse box, which is an amazing story for this thing, basically it jolted it so hard that it created a short somewhere. Something got loose. And if you've ever dealt with electrical issues in vehicles, I mean, I've gotten rid of vehicles because it's a never-ending quest to find the short or to find the problem, basically. You know, it starts here and you find it, well, then it moves here and here and here. Sometimes the amount of money you're going to put into it to try and fix that electrical problem, it's not worth it. So if the car's worth, $5,000 and you've got to spend, thousands of dollars, you're chasing this short, it's not worth it. And sometimes, I know people that have been working on electrical shorts or mystery problems forever. So, anyway, the story on the fuse box is that it's a 1989 Toyota, and when I saw that the fuse box had melted and one of the relays had melted, I said, well, that's got to be the problem. So I looked it up. There was one on eBay, and it was overseas, and they wanted $600 for it because I had already gone through and tried to look for OEM ones. Well, they don't exist. So what I ended up doing is I found another van, and I bought it for $300, paid another $200 to have it brought down from the Seattle area to Portland, Oregon. And then I just stripped the hell out of it and got all the parts I needed. Well, if I would have been thinking, I would have grabbed the radio out of that, because the way it works is the radios in these were the first computers of the vehicle, right? So now you have a little, plug where you can plug a computer into, the OMB or OBM, I can't remember. But you basically plug a little handheld unit and it tells you what's wrong with the car, right? Because they're all computerized. Well, they put the radio is the computer. So the way it works, I'll show you over here on the engine, is you literally short out this little weird fuse thing over here in the engine, and then it displays codes on the display of the radio. That was pretty primitive technology, but this is 1989. This is when things were changing. So obviously at the time, it's state of the art. But let me show you here what I'm talking about. Okay, so the way it works is you come here to this dongle, you pop this off, and you literally, even per the instructions in the manual, you take a piece of wire, strip it down, and you short it, or you hot wire it. You put one on the left, one on the right, positive, negative, and boom. Then that throws codes up on this radio. So the first thing that happened, I'm driving, and the radio started shorting, right? It's going, so I knew I got a big problem. And same thing just happened. Basically, I looked up, okay, the radio may be failing, and without the radio, you've got nothing. And I found one of them, and I think they wanted $800 for it. That's how old and rare these vans are. So that's not gonna work. So for 3 days, I've been going through everything, trying to figure out what I can do to get this going. A lot of you probably have never seen these in the United States. In Europe and other parts, this would be common, but this is the front seat. Well, the front seat kicks back, and here's your engine underneath. And this is a legendary engine. This is the 22 LE, very famous. but to work on it, it's complex, man. So I do all my own maintenance, and you have to, so say a basic tune-up. Well, it's all done blind. Okay, you come through these little ports, openings here on the back. I'll show you. And it's a dance. You have to figure out how to wiggle in the tools and work with you can't see anything, so you're changing the spark plugs. You've got one hand coming in this way, you meet them together, and then you're just feel. It's all by feel. I'll show you what the ports look like. So behind the passenger seat, you have these two ports, basically little doors that open, and that allows you to, come in through this angle. And what I was saying is you basically, stick your hand in, and it's a dance. So the tool you might have to put in that side. See, there's the engine bay, and it comes back, and then it's pretty wild, but that's how you have to do the maintenance. Unless you've got a shop where you can do it properly and lift the vehicle up and get under it and do everything. Anyway, so it's been 3 days. Look at this. I mean, it's trashed. Just destroyed. So I took everything apart. You can see here's that fuse box. What was it, $600? So I've gone through every fuse, every relays here. And if I were to drop this, oh, there you go. You can see more relays, more fuses, right? So it's just a never-ending quest. I mean, then you've got everything under here. So it's a big project. I'll show you where the battery is. The battery is back here in this little corner. There, behind the driver's seat. And the end of the story, basically, so I've got a new battery, and this connection, whoever did this, I mean, this thing was just a disaster. There was probably half a roll of black electrical tape. Who knows what they did, because they've spliced into it. Who knows why? Maybe it was a car alarm or something. But basically, after everything I've done, I got the new battery. I cut all this out, rewired it. It's all secure. And so far, she is holding up per the multimeter, right? So she's holding, I've been doing tests, and she's holding at 12.6. And it's been, lows here have been 20 degrees. So really, this all makes a lot of sense, because cold is what kills car batteries. I mean, look around after a freeze and you're going to see lots of people with dead cars. Heat and cold. They can't take it. Anyway, so I swapped this out. It's 3 days now, and I'm now going through and doing these things because they had environmental controls on these cars. And the way you do it is you have to start the car, then locate that relay or that fuse for the environmental control, pull it, the car will go, it'll die, then you crank it 3 times, then you let it sit for 30 minutes, you put the fuse back in, you did it, and that's supposed to reset the computer. I wanted to show you this. So here's the manual. And this thing, if you've got a vehicle, have a manual. Without this, you're just flying blind. This thing has saved my ass. Literally. In the middle of the desert, in the mountains. You know, old technology. This is it. Paper, right? I was gonna try and find that schematic that shows, you know, making the little jumper. Because that's literally what it is. You make a little jumper to get the computer to read out. But anyway, if you don't have a manual for your vehicle, you got problems. Okay, so this is day 3. Let's go ahead and give her a crank. Look at this. Wait until you see my ignition. So this is my key, because somebody tried to steal this. See that? You know how you can steal a car? You just hammer into it, break the safety here, break the wheel, and then hammer in here. But I think I somebody must have come into the camp. This is out in the desert, and they ran away. So the key is now a screwdriver. Let's see. Okay, radio's on. Start, and what we're looking for, the big problem is this was shorting out. So I'm letting it run, and before it was shorting out literally within seconds of starting it. So it'd run for 5 seconds, and then that radio blink on. So I mean, the funny thing is, if it comes down to all it was putting in a new battery, which can do miracles. I mean, a bad battery, I've seen it a billion times. All these crazy things start happening. Is it my fuel pump? Is this your lights? Craziness. And all it was your battery. I've worked on vehicles before where all it was a bad connection at the stem on the positive or negative of the battery. That simple, right? It's not communicating correctly. So far after this, everything that I've done, it's gonna turn out that all it was the bizarre wiring splicing they'd done on the positive terminal of the battery. So I'll keep you updated, but this is my bug out bag. This is my survival rig. Without a rig, if you think you're going to take off on foot with your 100-pound piece gear and then hike out, whatever it would be, from here it'd be 60 miles hiking on foot to get to your bug out location, and then you're going to be there and survive by hunting squirrels maybe with a slingshot or whatever. I mean, it's all just a fantasy. So without a vehicle, you got serious problems. And the point of it all is make sure your vehicle is well maintained and that you have a manual and you know how to work on it.